So today I'm going to be showing y'all how to make this golf club. Alright, so for this project we're going to need some wood, some glue, some nails, and probably something to make a grip out of at the end. The wood we're using is oak, and I've got two 25-inch boards that are 1x6s. So 50 inches of 1x6 oak is gonna run you like $12. You know, pocket change for ballers like me. Alright, so as for the tools you're gonna need to build this thing, you're gonna need a saw of some sort, like a circular saw or a jigsaw, a drill for drilling things. I might break out the belt sander, I might not. Same goes for my angle grinder. Also, don't forget your clamps. You're gonna want to have like half a dozen of them. If you're wondering about my choice in hat, this is why. It's the middle of March and it's snowing. Alright, so the first step is to draw it out how you want it. The, I don't know, theme of this weapon I was going for was gonna be like Native American looking, but kind of like post-apoctoliptic. I'm not really sure, I'm just kind of freestyling. Alright, don't let that little montage fool you. Cutting these pieces out is pretty difficult because it's oak, you know, really hard wood, and it's an inch thick, and I'm just using a jigsaw. Right, like, I've got a little battery powered circular saw, but it just wasn't cutting it. Get it? Anyways. This was a lot more difficult than I expected it to be. I didn't mind because I enjoy working out here, but here's some advice. I clamped all my pieces down to this stool because it allowed me to fit more clamps on to make it even more solid. And then to keep the stool from moving around, I would just lock my feet into the bottom bits and hold it firm. And then you'd have a really solid workpiece, making so your jigsaw would actually cut through it rather than just push the workpiece away. Alright, once you get your first one cut out, you gotta say the magical words. Cock, cock, poo, poo, butt. And boom, poof. You have a second copy. So originally I wasn't gonna do this, and it's completely not necessary, but I figure if I'm gonna make a spiky mace, I might as well give it a bit extra stopping power. So I'm gonna put 2 steel weights in the center of this, so that when it glues together, you're gonna have a couple extra ounces, and you're gonna be able to hit a little bit harder with this. The way I'm going to do this is I'm going to use my drill press. I'm going to have it drill down that far into this piece of wood, and I'm just going to drill this out, and then I'm going to use my chisels to clean it up, and then this should fit in there nice and flush, and I'll use some construction adhesive to hold them in place, and then I'll glue these sides together. Once you get off the drill press, this is how it should look, and that's just fine because instead of work with chisels, we can get it looking like that, this. fit in there, but you need to make sure it's really flat, or else you're gonna have the worst club ever. Like, no one's gonna go there, you're not gonna make any money, you're gonna have a DJ like playing slow music, it's gonna be poo-poo. Jokes aside, you still gotta get this flush, and the way to do that is you put a flat piece of wood or something on, and you just feel for where it's bumpy at. Like right here, it's solid. Right here, it's not solid. Right here, it's not solid. Right there, it's solid. So that means over here, this piece of metal is sticking up. So we need to flatten down that area a little bit more.
So laminating wood together is always the most important part of any project, and it requires a lot of prep to make sure it all goes right. So you need your clamps, the more the better. You're going to want some sort of knife to mark up the wood. Not mark up the wood, but to cut grooves into the wood to give your glue more surface area to bond to. Pro tip, because I'm obviously a pro, I've been gluing since I was like 2. Anyways, right, but you put your adhesives in front of a heater if it's cold out. If it's like the summer or whatever, but if it's like, you know, snowing out in the middle of March, put your stuff in front of the heater so that it's warm and easy to use when it's time to use it.
I swear to God, I hate laminating wood together. I think that's my least favorite part of woodworking. Like, I put the liquid nails in just fine, and then I had to glue the rest of it with this stuff. So I like, you know, popped the top, started like trying to do that. It wasn't coming out, so I had to manhandle this thing off. I had to like use a pair of pliers, and then I had to just like goop this stuff all over the place, and then I just smear it on there, started clamping it, glue went everywhere. It was just a ton of glue. Also, when you laminate something, you have to like stop. Your day's ended because you have to wait for it to dry before you can keep going, and it's pretty annoying because it's like the crack of 12:30, and I wouldn't mind I wouldn't mind keep going. All right. Anyways, next step is we just need to get all the sides squared together. You know, make them all flush like a toilet. Alright, so this next bit that I'm going to do is completely aesthetic, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill holes along the sides of the piece, and then I'm going to use my angle grinder here with a flap disc to shape the handle. You know, there's really only so much sanding you can do per night before you start to go a little bit crazy and start seeing dents and little nicks everywhere. So I'm gonna call it a night when it comes to that. So I'm just gonna laminate these bits on the side, and then come tomorrow after school, I will start shaping the head. The mace head turned out pretty solid. I mean, it doesn't look pretty right now, but I just gotta shape it up. But once that is done, I'm gonna have to drill holes for the spikes or studs. I haven't really decided on that yet. And then I need to stain it, burn it, or burn it, because I think I could swing either one of those pretty well. Just like lightly burn it with a blowtorch, and that might look pretty cool. Or I could use the same cherry red stain that I used on my Karambit, have them kind of match. I noticed this crack kind of before I started shaping the head. By the way, it looks pretty good. I gotta say, like, this is gonna be pretty sexy. Anyways, right, but I noticed this crack and I was kind of assuming, hey, once I sand it down a little bit, maybe it'll disappear. And no, it's kind of revealed itself to be a bit farther extended than what I initially thought it was. So I'm gonna need to repair this before I can consider this a finished product. So what I'm going to need to do that is
Some wood glue and some wood dust, and we've got a bit of a supply, so not really gonna risk running short on that. Alright, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your glue and you're gonna plop some down just like that. Looks tasty, looks like some ranch. Yum. Then you're going to take some sawdust, preferably from the piece you're repairing. Put it on top of that tasty ranch. And kind of just stir it around. Just get it all nice and gross looking. And there you go, boom, homemade wood filler. Alright, so the wood filler dries pretty fast, and you can get going again on this thing in an hour or two. But once it's all dry, all you have to do is sand it off. So I just got finished cleaning up all of the wood filler that I used, and did a bit more shaping on the head and handle. So now that that's done, I'm going to get on to the final drilling for the studs in the head of the mace. If you decide you want studs, you can go without, but I'm going to be using this 1/2 inch steel rod and this 3/8 inch steel rod. This I found
here in my garage,
and this I pulled off an old printer, so together their price was free. Anyways, so the pattern I'm going to go with for studs on the mace is I'm going to have a center line of the 1/2 inch steel rod, and on either side of it I'm going to have the 3/8 inch, and I'm going to give it kind of like a mohawk. Alright, so my video is going a bit longer than I want it to be, so I'm going to give you the real short version of the next couple steps. You take your steel thing, you cut it up into little pieces, and you glue it. Once all the glue dries for the studs on the handle, you're going to want to trim them down so they're flush with the wood. I found that just using a file and then going over the area with sandpaper once it's filed down works best. Once that's all done, you're going to need to go into cutting out the studs that you're going to be using on the head, and then gluing them in. Actually no, you don't glue them in. Stain the thing first and then glue them in. That'd probably work best. If you're wondering what stain I used, it is, as you can see, the Blood of My Enemies, number 245. Because of the wood filler that I used on this, it kind of looks like it's got that one skin pigment disease. But you know what? Body positivity is all the rage these days, so whatevs. So the last step, hopefully, is just to glue all the studs that you've cut out into the holes. Well, I kind of knew this was gonna happen, but I was really just kind of praying and crossing my fingers and hoping that it wouldn't. But the Gorilla Glue kind of really puffed up a lot worse than I expected it to, because I made sure not to use that much. So I'm gonna have to clean off all this caca before it's done. Oh well. So I used a knife and a chisel pretty well to take off as much of the glue as I could, but there's still, a bit left, as you can see. So I'm gonna try and restain and see if that helps. And well, with that, the club's complete. I feel like something this cool is the name. I dubbed the counter.